to teach this morning. This morning we get a treat of having our amazing Trish DeMarcus, Vice President, come on this morning and teach us. I think she's chosen a very near and dear subject to my heart. Whoops, someone's echoing. There we go. All right. Of manifestation. So I'm going to pass this over to my very, very close friend. We've become very close over the last 5 years, and I just adore her. And she is very, she just teaches in such an amazing, soft-hearted way, and I really appreciate her for that. And she lives in St. George, Utah, and has 2 children, and she is just a lovely person. So I'm going to pass it over to Trish DeMarcus to give us her views and her knowledge of manifestation. So take away, Trish.
Thank you, Colette. Good morning. Thanks, guys, for showing up on Thanksgiving weekend. If you have a pen and paper, I would definitely start off, make sure you want to get that. We want to take some notes on what I'm going to teach you today, because it's invaluable information that when I first learned about manifestation, I thought was complete woo-woo garbage. Never thought I'd be the one turning around and teaching it. How many of you on this screen have read this book, Think and Grow Rich? Okay, so we all have the knowledge of this book. How many of us have applied this knowledge? When I say apply, do it, what do you mean? Have you manifested things into your life? Have you changed your mindset? What about writing out a manifesto? Because that's the homework in the book, right? That's the biggest thing with books, is for me, is I would go and read book after book after book, but I wasn't doing the actual work in the book. I wasn't taking the action in the book. So my mentor made us all read this book about 5 years ago. He wouldn't work with any of us if we hadn't read this book. This one and another one, How to Win Friends and Influence People, which, let me sum that up, be a really good person. But this book, I have 2 books. This is this book, but in today's modern age, right? Anyway, he had us do this book, and he also had us write a manifesto. And it wasn't until recently, and we wrote a manifesto. I'm going to teach you today how to do it. And if it's not for you, if you already know how to do this, this will be great for you to teach your team. But he had us write that, and we had to, and I'm going to teach you the steps to do it, but we hung it. Lacey, actually, my partner, hung it in her bathroom, and Michael stayed there one time, right? I know he took a shower, he saw that manifesto, and she read that thing morning and night, every single day, like, I'm going to teach you guys. And it's so interesting because I forgot about it. She's moved like 3 times, and I kind of forgot about the manifesto. I wasn't doing it. I've manifested in other ways, vision boards, being very specific in what I'm writing. But I will tell you that recently we just found it. And it's unbelievable, because you have to sometimes be more specific than you think, because I never thought that the way that mine was going to come true was through this company and this route and this vehicle. I thought it was something else I was doing at the time that I wrote it. But guess how specific I was? I said that I wanted the sum of money that I actually can now find, I now know I can create. But I put the date as 2024. Like, that's the date. That's how long in my head it was going to take me to get to $1 million that I was manifesting, which by the way, $1 million to me that many years ago seemed ridiculous that I could make that. I had so many limiting beliefs. But now, so in my head, okay, 4 years, it takes about 3 to 5 years to build a business. I mean, maybe if I really did it, I could do it by 2024. And now here it is, 2024. And I realized that the last 5 years of my life were just the practice that I needed to be able to step into everything that's coming my way right now. Woo, right? Just woo. So, okay. The first part of manifesting, you got to decide. We talked about deciding a little while ago, and we talked about how to decide means to kill off. So many of us pretend we've made a decision, but really what we've done is decide until something comes that makes us uncomfortable or we don't want to do. And then when we're uncomfortable, we quit. I did a program probably about 3 years ago called 75 Hard. Anybody ever heard of that program? They call it a Ironman for your brain. The stuff that you do is kind of hard. You got to do 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes each, one outside, even if it's snowing like where Zap's at. You have to do it outside, and one's inside. You drink a gallon of water a day. You have to take a before and after picture. You have to follow a diet, no alcohol, and read 10 pages of personal growth a day. And you have to do it for 75 days. And if you miss one day, you miss one thing, you start over. It's day 1. It's military mindset. It is masculine energy at its finest. But you know what it did for me? It really taught me how to decide. Like, I thought I knew how to decide, but I didn't realize how many times in my life I had quit on myself, how many times I had really not believed in myself. I mean, all I had to do was look around and see that. There's a really good book. Anyways, back to the 75 hard. That really did teach me that more than anything. It taught me that anything that I put my mind to, I can achieve. Just like all of you guys, seriously, everybody, like, this book is so knowledgeable. Talk about deciding. In this book, there's a story by Henry Ford. Now, Henry Ford, you guys never even graduated 6th grade. And he had a dream, and he wanted an 8-cylinder. I'm talking about Ford here at the Dodge place. Mike, better turn it off. I can't hear him. Anyway, he had a dream for an 8-cylinder block engine, and hired the best engineers in the world. And they all told him it couldn't be done. And he all told them it can be. Go create it. And he paid them, and he made them go create it. And they came back. And they said, it can't be done. You're crazy. Like, it can't be done. And he said, it can and it will. And he sent them for another year, a year of working with people who didn't believe in it, didn't think it could be done. And it was done. And they did come out and they did create it. And so that's the question. That's truly deciding. Is your belief in yourself strong enough that if you were in a room full of doubters and people who said it couldn't be done, would you still decide to do it, or would you believe them? And them is the false beliefs that pop up, the dream stealers, your own limiting beliefs.
Hey, Trish, I waited for you to pause there, but I just wanted to make a quick correction. I don't work for Dodge. I work for Toyota.
Oh, shit.
I want to make sure we got that clear. Got my general manager over my shoulder, my sales manager, and they're hearing that I'm on a Zoom and we're talking about Dodge. It's just not good for business. I'm just kidding. Hey, keep flowing. I love what you're teaching. I love what you're teaching.
Thanks, Zap.
I manifested you being a superstar the day I met you. Just so you know.
I believe it. Colette manifests for us all here every day. She's told me every morning on her walks. She does it. So, yep. Thank you. I'll take all of y'all's manifestations. Right? Okay. So deciding is a big, huge factor in it, but we also have to surrender and trust in it all. So I'm just going to teach you really quick what a manifesto is. So you can have vision boards. I'm very visual. I've actually created one sometimes twice a year, but at least once a year. And I can look back at my last 4 years and every single thing on that board has come true. And sometimes the most interesting ways where you're like, oh my gosh, that's silly. Like, I had a picture of a heart. It was a cartoon heart and a brain, and it was talking to each other. And I just thought, like, heart connection. I wanted to be more heart-centered. And anyway, how it manifested in my life is one of the old CFOs I used to work for came into my life with a heart math device that connected heart-brain coherence. Now, I didn't want to sell it or anything, but he gave me a device. So it was just so interesting to see even that, like, that is literally heart-brain coherence. And I had a picture of a heart, brain, and a cartoon. Like, what? Right? The things that show up. Okay, manifesto. Okay, first, this is coming straight from the book. First, you have to fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. Now, this was hard for me back then. I could not imagine. So I will tell you, back then, I did not have the vehicle that I have now. There is no way that I could be, the revenue plan that we have here, I couldn't have done it. Looking back now. You could do this. So fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient to merely say, I want plenty of money or I want enough. Be definite as to the amount. This is for a psychological reason. Okay. Second, you need to determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. There's no reality of something for nothing. I can think of some things you're going to give if you're going to be earning this. A little time and energy. You're going to have to give a lot of patience, a lot of grace, trust. Ooh. Okay, this is the one where I'm not going to say it's a mess up because I've learned so much along the way, but you have to establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. Fourth, you have to create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you're ready or not to put this plan into action. Ready is a lie, by the way. That's the name of a book I've read. No one's ever ready. We all caught up? Fifth, write out a clear, concise statement. Now, this is putting all these steps together is all this is. So you're going to make a statement that you're going to read every day. It's an affirmation is really what this is. You're creating your own visualization manifesto. You're going to write out a clear statement with all of those things from above, which is the amount of money you intend to acquire, name the time limit for its acquisition, state what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan in which you intend to accumulate it. My plan was to take, action, to keep working on myself, to duplicate how I knew to my own music. We all took that homework. I'm gonna rewrite mine, although I should just maybe keep reading the one I had. Is pretty good. But create some new vision boards and take some time this weekend on this long holiday weekend to write that out for yourself. There's a quote I wrote down that I love. It's from Winston Churchill. It says, success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Because you realize that failure, there is no failure. Quitting is the only failure. So you're just failing up, leveling up. Each time you learn something new from what you perceived as a failure. And if we don't have a burning desire or an unflinching belief in ourselves and really desire this, and we decide that that's why manifestation, people think it doesn't work because they're not doing it. They're not believing it in themselves. Okay, so how do you surrender and believe? Let me tell you, it's hard. It's so hard. I had to write the word. Look, I have a tattoo of the word surrender on my arm. My son saw it and he's like, why would you get that word? That means giving up. I said, oh, no, not to me. It doesn't. To me, it means trusting, believing. Okay, I'm going to give you a basic breakdown on how you surrender.
Hold on, Trish, real quick. Keep that thought. But Tanya wants you to go over something, the last thing that you said. before surrender. What was the last statement that you made?
Success. The success consists.
Oh,
The consists of
Winston Churchill. Yeah. Success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So to surrender, you guys, it's the same way as manifesting. You got to get crystal clear on what you desire, which is what you're doing in your manifesto. That's step one. This is the biggest part. You have to see it, feel it, taste it, fall in love with it, and you believe it's already here. It's the emotion. So I don't know what your dream is, but visualize it. Imagine if it's a sandy white beach. I know Tina's is Australia, having a home in Australia. And she just went back and visited. So I know the smells and the feels are very real to her right now. And then the third step, and this is from being a you're a badass. So they go together. The third step is decide, which we figured out. We already decided that's part of surrendering. And you got to inform the universe, God, whatever you call of your intention. You have to exclaim it, pray about it, say it by behaving and thinking as you already have it. That's the trust. That's the surrender. You act as if and then you're going to meditate. Now, meditate means be present. Meditate means be quiet your mind. Don't think about the past, think about the future. You sit with it, sit with yourself. And when you do that, you're going to connect with the infinite possibility and your intuition and your source. And you're going to connect. And then the next step is you are going to take, this book says, hell-bent, joyful, passion-fueled action. You got to be excited about what you're doing. It's the 3 E's. So the action you take has got to be behind the energy of you are creating all you desire. And what's fun in this business is action is just like going around people. So go plan something fun for the day and go connect. Go try something new. It's picking up the phone, calling and reconnecting with somebody. It's a fun business. Okay. And then you got to be grateful that it's yours and that it's already here. So gratitude is a big, big part of it. And that's where I love to do the wins at night. And I like to focus on the things that are going right and be grateful for those. And then you just breathe. You let it go and you let it in. Right? Now, I know I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say there's going to be some that don't do it. But I know because I've taught this for a lot of years now. And I've had people come to me after and say, I never did that. I'm going to give them, they wrote down all the instructions to do it and they were going to do it and they were so excited, but they didn't actually do it. Just encourage you, try it for something. If you don't believe that you can achieve then it won't happen. So start with something smaller. One of my favorite books is I love Mel Robbins. Ooh, I love Mel Robbins. And I love learning about the RAS, that part of the brain, right? That subconscious part of the brain and what we attract and what we see. And I tested it out with her hearts and I cannot not see hearts. Well, then I switched it to feathers. You guys, you should see my feather collection right now. And I have a video yesterday of this hawk that literally I'm sitting outside and just goes whoop and sits right here. And I was like, oh, I couldn't even believe it. And you'll have these, I'm waiting for his feather. Like it's coming. I already know. All right. We're at 9:21. I'm going to open it up. Does anyone have any questions on any of this?
I see hawks all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hawks.
I'm gonna tell you what it means because of course I had to look up the meaning. That's how I roll. Hawk represents several things spiritually. They represent being in control of your own life and being confident.
Ooh, love that. I also love what you said about focus on the things that are right. In this business, a lot of people tend to shift their mind constantly to what is wrong. I mean, and for being a leader, it is a huge one that you have to focus on because you hear all the wrong from everyone else. And so you really have to work your brain to think of the things that are going right. So that one really went woo with me. So.
And if you guys think you get negative, you should see how much Colette gets because it's puke up hills, what we teach here. So she's getting the mother load. You got such a great positive mindset though. And what Colette has taught me more than anything is she has had belief. She had so much belief I didn't have to have any because I was like, Colette believes. She had enough belief for me at the beginning until now. And then I got my own.
Yeah, it took a few months, didn't it, Trish?
I didn't know what I had. And I can guarantee you there's so many people that don't know what they have in front of them.
100%. And I think most of them are riding on the person that's putting it in front of them, their belief, right? Because it's all about a vision and you have to create that vision for them and get them to believe that and see it. So
that's how I'm feeling with, the people that I've had join me. A lot of people have used me as the third party, right? In that three-way. And it's my belief that's had to translate. And I've said, there's so many, what if it doesn't? And what if it does? And here's the thing, regardless, if it does all work out like everyone dreams and is manifesting, then I am like the biggest hero in the land. And if it ends up being the biggest scam that you think it is, then I'm going to have to move away, right? So like either way, just keep trusting. What made you join in the first place? I got you. Let's go.
I love it. Suzanne, did you have something to add? I see that you were off mute.
I do. Thank you, Trish. What stands out really big for me is enthusiasm. I've got it. I mean, you and Colette, we've had these conversations, and when people, dump on you and all that stuff, it's like you just keep plowing through it with enthusiasm because somebody's out there looking for us and wants to hear it, believe it, and also that's my next one. Believe it as if you have it. You have it. I've always believed that. We do have it. We're just walking the steps out. Okay. So great teaching, Trish. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your insight.
Thank you. Thank you, Suzanne. Michael, are you trying to come off mute again?
I figured out how to come off mute. Thanks, Glenn.
Because I'm like, I'm not sure what's going on with his mute.
Brilliant teaching, Trish. It's nice to hear it back. I mean, it's one thing to teach it, but then it's such a pleasure to sit back and watch it taught back to you. The one thing I wanted to, you made me really just think about thoughts and the fact that thoughts are things, and whatever you think is possible or whatever you think is real is real. And the quote from that book that you're holding right there that I love the most, which I know you were probably going to get to, is anything the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. And these are words that I live by in my life. Anything the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. And I think back to an old program. I don't like to talk about the past unless it's relevant in the future. But for those of you on the screen right now that don't know my past in this profession, I was a part of a video streaming company back in 2003, just like we're doing today. And it was at a time when the product hardly ever worked. And I built a network of 13,000 people with a video tool that never worked like this one's actually working today, which only proves that my mind thought that one day video would work, and here we are today. But I taught people every single day, just trust me, one day this video thing's going to work. One day a mom in Utah is going to be able to jump on a Zoom with 30 to 50 people and teach you about Think and Grow Rich. And here we are today. So I manifested that years ago. I would tell people, like so many people would get mad back then, like this thing doesn't work. And I sent a video and Colette, when we get, and the technology never worked. But the only way we built a $50 million company and what would eventually become YouTube, quite frankly, was by believing that what wasn't actually real becoming real. And in our mind's eyes with Transact Card, it's you got a card and you get paid on the swipes and you double your dollars. I mean, it's really that simple. And some people just don't believe that that's really going to happen. And like Trish illustrated to all of you, Colette had the belief when none of us had the belief. And she's built one of the largest organizations in the company because of what she sees in her mind's eye. Michael, I believe in Peter. I think he's the greatest. This thing's going to be huge. I'm like, who is Peter? Like, I don't even know Peter. But she had me handing over my debit card for $500 based on her belief alone and what she saw. So just remember that it's always one or two people that can create the movement. But imagine if all of us shared that same belief in what we're doing here. Where will this be if all of us are completely convinced that this is going to be bigger than Amazon and greater than any debit card you've ever held and change your life financially? Do we all believe that? If we all do, then we can't lose. And like Trish says, you don't go into it wondering, well, what if it doesn't work? Well, give me a break. It's like meeting your spouse and saying, well, what if we don't get along one day? And what if we don't like each other in 10 years? You still get married, and a lot of us end up in divorce, but some of us actually make it through the storm, right? So let's make it through the storm with Transact Card.
The storm. The storm is almost calm. Calm as far as the storm part of it goes. Now we need to turn it on.
Tsunami.
Right? And we need to create our type of storm now. The bad storm, if you want to look at it as a bad storm, is almost over. Now we got to take this to the top, right? The tipping point, and let's go.
Yeah, you ride the wave.
Yes.
And guess what? We need every one of you on board, because we can't get there with only Colette and Trish believing in this thing. So do whatever you got to do to learn the things that Trish is talking about. Spend some time with the book. What page is that on? The 6 steps? Trish, can you tell them the page number it's on in your book? Because you don't have to read the whole book. What is it, 42?
42.
On page 42, she's talking about the 6 steps to success by Napoleon Hill.
Think and Grow Rich. Yeah.
Napoleon
Hill. Yep.
The 6 steps to success is where she wants you to go immediately to, even before you reread the book again. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money you wish to make.
Mm-hmm.
Pick an exact amount of money, the definite date, the definite plan. We teach all this stuff, and this is in our blueprint as well, echoing the sentiments of Napoleon Hill. So anyway, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's fascinating how manifestation actually works. And just think back in your past and find some things that actually happened because you thought about it. It's very, very incredible. And I have many of those things that I didn't realize were happening because I thought about them and I brought them to life. and there's a lot. And I know each and every one of you have it. We need to remember to wake up that part of our brain, because we've all kind of gone to sleep and let life happen for us. Let's make life happen. Let's make it happen. So manifest exactly what you want from this company, from, what we're doing here, what we have in our hands, because it's going to take all of us to manifest it to fruition. And I believe we're doing a pretty good job of that, because we brought over 90,000 people, probably over 100,000 people right now, in just 6 months. So it's very, very possible. We didn't even have a card in our hand. We didn't even have a bank yet. I mean, we had a bank in the past, but you know what I mean? I mean, we are creating this right along every step of the way. So put your mind, let's go. Let's get it all together, all of us working together, and we can make something huge here. And I believe it's already started. And Annabelle just popped
I
up.
already see it at international. It's international, you guys. So that's it. It's international. That's what's on my vision board. I'm going places with Transact Card.
I know you
and our
are.
family. It's international, you guys. That's it.
Yep.
100%.
Lacey Johnson's another one. When you ask her, she just says, "Oh, it's done." I don't know how it's going to happen. It's just done. She just knows, like, it's done. Like, she just felt it cellularly. And I'm like, yep.
Absolutely. Well, I've been feeling it. So let's rock, guys. Thank you so much, Trish. I love that teaching. Thank you, Michael, for your addition. Everybody else that popped on to add to this call. Let's rock this. And at 9:30, there is teaching on working outside your warm market. And Scott Rancy is going to be teaching on something. And I imagine it has to do with probably something with the Power Save card, something like that. So always plug into those calls because we never know what we are missing if we stay away from them. So plug in, you guys. Thank you so much for coming on. Have a great rest of your weekend. Love you all. Thanks, Trish.
And
Bye-bye.
bye.